Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another Classic Comics live stream. Okay, so took a break last week because I was with my National Guard unit, but back now. So this week, what the big thing, of course, we're going to look at first is the box office for Deadpool and Wolverine. Obviously, it's a huge hit. It's hit 1 billion this weekend, which I think it's 2 weeks. Not bad at all. And a lot of news in the last week or so about Hollywood studios that are really just taking a beating financially. I think because earnings calls, the quarterly earnings reports for a lot of these studios were released this week. And the plot for Avengers Kang Dynasty, which is, of course, the aborted plot, it's not going to be the plot anymore, leaked online. We'll talk about that a little bit. If I have time, there's maybe a couple other stories, but I'm going to cap this at an hour, so we'll see. But let's go ahead and get into it here. Oh, and first, of course, thank you to those who will tune in for the stream and those who will tune in on a rewatch. While you're here, please do like the stream and also share it if you can, as well as sub to the channel and check out some of my other videos maybe while you're here as well. So let's go ahead and get into this. This is from the Hollywood Reporter. All right. Box office milestone. Deadpool and Wolverine crosses 1 billion globally on way to becoming top R-rated pick of all time. Deadpool and Wolverine stars Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, along with Sean Levy. With director Sean Levy, they have received their membership cards to the $1 billion box office club. Marvel Studios and Disney's summer blockbuster achieved the feat on Saturday and will finish the weekend with an estimated 1.029 billion in global ticket sales, including 494.3 million domestically and 535.2 million overseas. The audacious third outing in the Deadpool series that began its life at 20th Century Fox is a huge win for franchise mastermind Ryan Reynolds, as well as for Marvel Studios and the superhero genre in general. It's the first superhero movie to cross a billion since Sony and Marvel's Spider-Man No Way Home 2.5 years ago, and the first Marvel Disney MCU pick to cross the 1 billion threshold since Avengers Endgame in 2019. Moreover, Deadpool and Wolverine is just days away from passing up Warner Brothers and Todd Phillips's Joker at 1.079 billion and becoming the top grossing R-rated film of all time at the global box office, not adjusted for inflation. It now ranks number 2 after passing up Oppenheimer. In North America, it already holds the R-rated record. Moreover, it tied with the Avengers to become the 4th fastest MCU title to speed past a billion in just 19 days. Okay, so like 2.5 weeks. Avengers Endgame tops the list in 5 days. Man, I'd forgotten it did that. Followed by Avengers Infinity War in 11 days, and Spider-Man No Way Home, which took 12 days. Deadpool and Wolverine is the 55th movie to clear the 1 billion mark, the 31st Disney title to do so, and the 11th MCU movie, including 2 Sony Spider-Man films, Homecoming and No Way Home. Did Homecoming pass a billion? I didn't remember that. Other notable factoids: it's the second film of the year so far to join the $1 billion club after sister Disney Pixar film Inside Out 2, which now tops the chart of the top grossing animated film of all time with 1.6 billion in global ticket sales. Disney's the only studio to ever deliver back-to-back $1 billion films in a given year. Deadpool and Wolverine has smashed one record after another since debuting over the July 26th to 28th weekend, including quickly passing up the entire lifetime runs of the first 2 Deadpool films, both domestically and globally, after just 2 weekends in theaters. Deadpool's domestic earnings were 363.1 million and a global total of 782.6 worldwide. The second film's domestic haul was 318.5, and a worldwide total of 734.5 million. As far as how it As far as how high it can ultimately climb, most are predicting that the pick will land at between 1.2 and 1.3 billion, giving credence to Reynolds' theory that he and the filmmakers succeeding in making the first four-quadrant R-rated film. Yeah, it's hard to argue with it considering the success. I thought it would be big, but I got to admit, this is bigger than I thought it would be. And it is interesting to note that this is the first Marvel-related film to hit over a billion since since No Way Home. But like No Way Home, this wasn't purely a Marvel MCU film. They made that with Sony, and this was, well, I mean, I guess technically it's an MCU film, maybe, but it was made with Fox, which Disney owns too. But it's not just a straightforward MCU film. In fact, there's actually very little of the MCU in this. It's in my review, I talked about that. I thought there'd be more involvement with the MCU in this movie than there was. But yeah, it's hard to argue against the success, and clearly we're probably going to be getting more Deadpool and Wolverine in the future. You can bet on that. Okay. Now, as I mentioned, Hollywood is financially in a bad way. So let me, where's that story? Okay, here it is. We'll start with Warner Brothers. Give me a moment here. Okay, here we go. All right, this is from Deadline. Warner Brothers Discovery takes massive $11.2 billion in write-downs and charges in Q2 after losing the NBA. Warner Brothers Discovery is taking a hefty non-cash impairment charge or write-down of $9.1 billion at its networks division to align the book value of its linear television business with the reality of uncertain advertising and sports right renewals as the NBA is set to move on. The value of the linear assets when Discovery and Warner Media merged 2.5 years ago was significantly higher than it is now as consumers migrated and advertising dipped. That's across the industry. A difference with David Zaslav-led WBD versus other big media companies is that it just lost a lucrative basketball package to Amazon. WBD had matching rights and is suing the NBA to get the games back, but no one seems to think it can prevail. Zaslav had indicated early in the renewal process that the company didn't absolutely need the NBA, but the lawsuit calls the loss a massive blow, which can't make investors feel great. The goodwill impairment was triggered in response to the difference between market capitalization and book value, continued softness in the U.S. linear advertising market, and uncertainty related to affiliate and sports rights renewals, including the NBA, the company said. WBD also reported another 2.1 billion of pre-tax acquisition-related amortization of intangibles. Oh, that's a statement. Pre-tax acquisition-related amortization of intangibles. Content fair value setup and restructuring expenses, but didn't elaborate. It's a complicated moment for WBD with the stock down about 70% from the merger and investors calling for action like breaking up the company again, which is immensely complicated. The company may be considering asset sales, including its game business, according to the Financial Times. Shares are down about 6.5% after the close, as most of the numbers fell short of Wall Street forecasts. Zaslav and executives are hosting a call today at 4:30. The write-downs were the biggest news in the second quarter earnings report, which on the plus side saw a nice bump in streaming ad revenue and subscribers as Max rolled out its ad light tier and expanded in Latin America. The streamer ended June with 103 million subs adding 3.6 million. Streaming ad revenue surged by nearly 100%. However, total DT sales fell 6% and losses widened to 107 million from 3 million in the 2023 quarter. Studios faced tough comps from last year, not on the film slate, but in games, as 2023 was buoyed by a wildly popular Hogwarts Legacy. Theatrical revenue rose 19%, primarily due to higher home entertainment revenue from Dune Part 2 and higher box office carryover from Godzilla Kong New Empire, released at the end of March. Studio profits fell 24%. Why is this thing jumping around? Stupid ads, or these pop-up ads, I think, are causing it. Network revenue and profit both fell 8% to respectively 5.2 billion and nearly 2 billion. Distribution revenue fell 8%, primarily driven by a 9% increase in domestic linear paid TV subscribers. Advertising revenue decreased 9%, primarily driven by domestic network audience declines of 13% and soft advertising in the US. Content revenue rose 5%, primarily driven by the timing of third-party licensing deals. Total WBD revenue of 9.7 billion was down 6%. Quote, at Warner Brothers Discovery, our top priority is our global direct-to-consumer business, and we are extremely pleased with the growing momentum we are seeing, as demonstrated by another strong quarter of growth with 3.6 million net adds, fueled by our ongoing international expansion and investment in high-quality, diverse content. Good Lord. In light of industry headwinds, we have and will continue taking bold steps, like reimagining our existing linear partnerships and pursuing new bundling opportunities with a goal to get Max on the devices of more consumers faster and at a fraction of the acquisition cost. Cost to them, mind you, a fraction of the cost to them, not to you. And we are seeing clear evidence that these and other actions we are taking will help drive segment profitability in the second half of the year and into 2025 and beyond. So, what I think you're going to see as a recurring thing is I got some other stories along these same lines. And I think what we're seeing, for years, there was the whole argument of get woke, go broke. And I, and certainly plenty of others, wondered how long studios could continue to keep pumping out this crap. To keep pumping out films featuring IPs and characters that were, whose audiences and followings were largely male, yet filling them full of, intersectional feminism, critical race theory, and just all sorts of nonsense. And then throwing them out and having them fail and then attacking the audiences for it. And, and obviously losing a bundle of money on it, but then just doubling down and quadrupling and who knows how many times down now and continuing to lose money. And now, as we're going to see, it's really starting to hit now, finally, when did this really start? The first time I really noticed it in a big way was in Mad Max Fury Road. Which that was 2015, so that was 9 years ago. But it really kicked off in a big way around, it was around the time a certain orange man got elected. So say 2016, 2017, when it really started to kick off in a big way. And so now they're finally starting to pay for it because these studios, they're all basically broke. And to that, again, I've got some more stories here and actually some more Warner's stuff. So we'll just stick with Warner's for the moment. Okay, and this is Los Angeles Times, I believe. Yeah. Hollywood's cable struggles become clear as write-downs add nails to linear TV's coffin. Warner Brothers Discovery ripped off a Band-Aid this week, giving investors an alarming look at the plummeting value of the cable television business. During its second quarter earnings report, the company said that its networks, including CNN, TNT, HGTV, Food Network, and Animal Planet, were worth $9 billion less than they were just 2 years ago. The new valuation comes as the company prepares to lose its key NBA contract. The massive write-down brought into sharp focus the collateral damage of the entertainment industry's shift to streaming. I mean, that's another thing, is that they've gone all in on this shift to streaming, which for the most part is still not profitable. And they abandoned the TV networks that, I mean, were working for them. I don't know. It just seems foolish to me. Warner Brothers Discovery's channels have long been popular destinations for viewers, particularly during an earlier era of channel surfing, but no more. It's fair to say that even 2 years ago, market valuations and prevailing conditions for legacy media companies were quite different than they are today, Zaslav, the company's chief executive, said. Zaslav and his lieutenants painted the problems as part of an industry-wide reckoning. Walt Disney Company, NBC Universal, and Paramount Global are also struggling to manage their decline of their cable channels, which have historically produced high profit margins. The companies have lost billions of dollars building streaming services to compete with Netflix. Yep. Paramount on Thursday told investors that it was taking a $6 billion impairment charge to account for the steep decline of its cable channel portfolio, which includes MTV, BET, Nickelodeon, VH1, and Comedy Central. It will also lay off 15% of its staff, or about 2,000 people. A dozen years ago, channels including ESPN, Nickelodeon, and HGTV were available in more than 100 million U.S. homes. That number has dropped to about 65 million as viewers turn to streaming. Paramount and Warner Brothers Discovery's write-downs this week, and I'll get to Paramount here shortly, adds nails to linear TV's coffin, Ross Benez, eMarketer's principal analyst, said in an emailed statement. Paramount struggles recently prompted controlling shareholder Sherry Redstone to orchestrate a sale of the company her father has controlled for 35 years to technology scion David Ellison. The pending sale to Ellison's Santa Monica-based Skydance Media, which should be completed next year, is a stark admission that medium-sized media companies may be too small to compete against deep-pocketed tech giants. I mean, it's just weird to think of Paramount Studios as being a mid-sized company. I mean, Paramount used to be one of the biggest studios in Hollywood. Ellison's father, tech entrepreneur Larry Ellison, is helping back his son's deal. Analysts have said and Ellison, wasn't he the guy that created Oracle? He was one of the or not created, but he was one of the founders of Oracle, I think. Analysts have said some of Warner Brothers Discovery's setbacks, including the expected loss of the NBA deal, have been self-inflicted. Investors appear to share that view as Warner Brothers Discovery's stock slid Wednesday. Other media companies largely maintained their value. Disney, which suffered a tough Wednesday after acknowledging softness within its theme parks, held steady. Comcast closed up 2%, and Netflix, the biggest winner of the streaming wars, was up 3%. Warner Brothers Discovery stock is down 40% this year. Ouch. Much of the fall coincided with the company's inability to negotiate a renewal of the NBA rights deal for TNT. The NBA last month announced it was instead striking agreements with Disney's ESPN, NBC Universal, and Amazon's Prime Video. TNT has broadcast pro basketball since 1989, a vestige of its Ted Turner days. And, back then, if you could have one of these big sports franchises, one of these big sports entities, you could build a network around that. That's how Fox got started. If you'll remember, Fox was really struggling in its first few seasons, and then I don't know how many years they had been around, but then they picked up, it may have been just a year or two, but then they picked up the NFL. They picked up NFL games. And then not only did they have the NFL, but then during the games, they would really advertise their own shows a lot during the games. And that really helped popularize a lot of their shows, and that really built the network, that NFL deal. And kind of a similar thing you could argue with TNT and the NBA. Warner Brothers Discovery sued the NBA, asking a judge to force the NBA to accept a deal that Warner Brothers Discovery offered as a match to the Amazon deal. The league, which has said the lawsuit has no merit, is expected to respond later this month. The company's stock is down 70% since the Zaslav orchestrated 2022 takeover of Warner Media from AT&T. In that deal, Zaslav's Discovery swallowed the larger media company. That merger left the company saddled with more than $50 billion in debt. The company has since laid off thousands of workers. It has slashed program spending, tightened budgets, and shelved projects, including such movies as Batgirl and Coyote versus Acme. Yeah, whatever happened to that? That Coyote versus Acme movie. I wonder why they didn't do that. Bank of America analyst Jessica Reif Ehrlich, once bullish on the company's potential, wrote that the firm is not on a sustainable path. The stock slide comes on the heels of significant underperformance over the last 2 years, Ehrlich wrote in a report Thursday. Unfortunately, the stock performance is a clear indication that investors see little optimism that the tides may soon start to turn. MoffettNathanson media analyst Robert Fishman wrote in a separate report Thursday. Investors are worried that without basketball, Warner Brothers Discovery will not be able to maintain its distribution fees during upcoming contract negotiations with pay TV providers such as Comcast and DirecTV. Yeah, that's probably true. Ehrlich asked on Warner Brothers Discovery's earnings call whether moves the company has made to cobble together additional sports rights, including NASCAR, Big East college basketball, and French Open of tennis, were enough to close the gap. I doubt it. Chief Financial Officer Gunnar Wiedenfels said the company has confidence that its strategy would eventually pay off, but didn't know when. There's been talk about a recovery a year and a half ago, he said. It hasn't really happened. Zaslav sought to assuage investors, saying he and other key executives have an attack plan meeting every week, all hands on. The executives pointed to growth in their streaming division, which includes premium channel HBO. The division added nearly 4 million subscribers during the quarter. The company's streaming chief said his team was excited by its upcoming programming slate. Zaslav also pointed to the Warner Brothers film studio, suggesting that projects in development would help spark the company's turnaround. The company has had success with Dune Part 2 and Godzilla Kong: The New Empire, but other movies, including Furiosa, have flopped. During the call, Zaslav and Wiedenfels touted the company's progress in paying down its debt, which is now $38 billion. We did an awful lot of work to get our balance sheets in good shape, Zaslav said. We view our debt as I don't know if $38 billion is debt is in good shape, but I don't know. I'm not a financial expert. Lightshed Partners analyst Richard Greenfield responded in a note to investors. Debt is a liability, not an asset, and if WBD had less debt, they could invest far more heavily in content creation. Ehrlich and other analysts have suggested that the company look at asset sales, such as cleaving off its video game unit, which suffered a tough quarter as its Suicide Squad game underperformed. Yeah, I'll talk about that here in a minute. While company executives have hinted they are open to looking at sales, they also underscored the importance of keeping the company whole. Look, we've been operating under the Warner Brothers Discovery strategy for the past 2.5 years, Wiedenfels said. Every day I'm seeing evidence everywhere in the business of the benefit of those strategies. And I doubt the people you fired see that, but okay. But the second quarter numbers did not contain such evidence. The company reported a net loss of $10 billion compared with a loss of $1.24 billion at the same time last year. Warner Brothers Discovery generated revenue of $9.7 billion, a 6% decline. Okay. So as I mentioned, We'll talk about the video game division here for a second. Okay, here it is. Let me bring that up. And this is from GameDeveloper.com. Warner Brothers Discovery looking to sell off games, other divisions to prevent a total breakup. Warner Brothers Discovery's dire financial straits may lead to its selling off various smaller assets as a means to avoid a complete nuclear option corporate breakup. Per Financial Times, senior management like CEO David Zaslav are considering selling off the video game division. That side of the business includes original franchises Warner Brothers Discovery acquired, such as Mortal Kombat, and long-running transmedia brands like DC and Harry Potter. Since merging with Discovery in 2022, Warner Brothers Discovery has repeatedly affirmed its desire to stick around in video games, particularly live service. It saw a big success in 2023 with Hogwarts Legacy, followed by the modest Multiversus and disappointing Suicide Squad in 2024. According to the outlet, selling its games may be the one sale Warner Brothers Discovery could make without triggering complications both legally and content-wise. The company recently lost out on media rights for NBA games and is rebranding its Max originals back to HBO. This is the second time this decade that Warner Brothers Games has been up for potential sale. In 2022, when Warner Brothers was still owned by AT&T, parties like Microsoft and Take-Two were interested in buying the interactive division. At the time, a potential deal would have been valued at as much as $4 billion. Is that all? I would have thought it'd be more. With a potential sale up in the air back then, it appeared to have affected NetherRealm specifically. Instead of making Injustice 3 after 2019's Mortal Kombat 11, it shifted to the universe reboot of Mortal Kombat. A sale never happened, and Warner Brothers Games has stuck around as its own entity. However, Microsoft never fully took its eye off the Warner ball. Leaked documents from 2023 show it wanted Gotham Knights, Mortal Kombat, and Suicide Squad on Game Pass for a range of $50 to $250 million each. If Warner Brothers Games were to be sold off now, it's unclear for how much, given the performance of its aforementioned 23 and 24 games, along with Monolith Productions' incoming Wonder Woman title. How much you want to bet that Wonder Woman title is going to be a woke piece of crap? But yeah, it looks like that Suicide Squad game, it just really hosed them. And profits plummeted. I saw, it isn't in this article here, but I saw somewhere, I think, that profits in their games division were down something like 40% or something like that from the previous year. And it's largely because people hate that Suicide Squad movie. I mean, you know, who would have guessed that making a video game where you kill off all your popular franchise characters like Batman and Superman, you know, and not only that, but they get killed off basically by a bunch of angry lesbians. You know, who would have thought that would, you know, hurt sales? Who would have guessed? But that's not the end of it, though. There's more bad news. Where is it here? Yeah, let me bring this up as the hits keep coming. Okay, this is from Variety. Cartoon Network website shuts down. Warner Brothers Discovery kicks visitors over to Max. So it's the end of an era here. Cartoon Network is done. Cartoon Network has been scrubbed from the web. Warner Brothers Discovery has pulled the entire contents of CartoonNetwork.com offline, redirecting visitors to a landing page on Max, its subscription streaming service, encouraging fans to sign up to watch their favorite Cartoon Network shows. The shuttering of the site appears to have happened Thursday, August 8th. Quote, looking for episodes of your favorite Cartoon Network shows? Check out what's available to stream on Max. A pop-up message says on the new Max landing page. Quote, sign up for Max where you can also create a kid's profile with ratings restrictions and additional privacy protections to keep it fun and kid-friendly. Cable subscribers continuing to enjoy your favorite CN programming on your TV and connected apps as well. The Cartoon Network site had previously offered full episodes and video clips for its roster of shows, including Adventure Time, Craig of the Creek, Amazing World of Gumball, Teen Titans Go, Steven Universe, We Bear Bears, and Clarence. The site also offered access to free games, including games for Teen Titans Go, Adventure Time, and Gumball. The shutdown of CartoonNetwork.com comes a week after Warner Brothers Discovery told subscribers it will sunset the Boomerang Classic Tune streamer effective September 30th. So Boomerang is going away too. They're shutting that down and migrating customers over and the content catalog over to Max. Warner Brothers Discovery's killing off of the Cartoon Network appears to be a cost-cutting move, as well as one intended to spur fans to pay up for Max. Yeah. In a series of similar moves, Paramount Global earlier this summer removed a huge trove of content from Comedy Central's site and pulled the full archive of MTV News and CMT from the internet. Oh, wow, really? All the MTV News stuff is gone. Wow. On Wednesday, Warner Brothers Discovery reported Q2 revenue of $9.7 billion. Yeah, I've covered this, and a whopping net loss of $10 billion, driven by a $9.1 billion write-down for a drop in value to its cable TV networks. Subscribers to the company's streaming services, led by Max, were down slightly domestically, while internationally streaming customers increased to 3.9 million. So, yeah, I mean, they're just... it's like a patient where there's like multiple limbs that are infected and you can't save the limbs, and you've basically got to, it's like we got to cut these limbs off and save the patient, or the patient dies. And so they're just hacking off all these pieces that aren't able to survive on their own anymore. But yeah, man, Cartoon Network, wow. That's it's wild to think that's going to be gone. Now let's talk about Paramount here. So this is from the Wall Street Journal, because Paramount is feeling it too. This is from the Wall Street Journal. Paramount writes down value of cable TV business by $6 billion, cuts 2,000 jobs. Paramount is also cutting 2,000 jobs, or did I? Okay, sorry, I skipped it. The slow motion collapse of the cable television business is coming into clear focus. Paramount Global, home of channels including Comedy Central, MTV, and Nickelodeon, on Thursday wrote down the value of its cable TV networks by nearly $6 billion, a day after rival Warner Brothers Discovery revised the worth of its own cable business lower by a whopping $9.1 billion. Paramount is also cutting 2,000 jobs, or 15% of its U.S. workforce, as part of an effort to realize $500 million in cost savings. The reassessments by two of the country's largest TV conglomerates come as cable TV networks are suffering from the acceleration of cord cutting, declining ratings, and a weak advertising market. Streaming platforms are taking audiences and subscribers away from what was once the engine powering the media industry. The challenges of the linear ecosystem are becoming even more apparent, especially given the pressure on linear advertising and the competition for ad budgets with connected TV and streaming players, and the increasing pressure with cord cutting, said Robert Fishman, an analyst with MoffettNathanson. During a call with investors to discuss the company's results, Chief Financial Officer Naveen Chopra said the nearly $6 billion write-down of the cable TV business was triggered by the decline of the traditional TV business, as well as Paramount's recently announced deal to merge with Skydance Media. We need to reconcile the value of our additional reporting unit with the enterprise value for the entire company that's implied by the Skydance transaction, Chopra said. Programmers are also facing pressure from distributors increasingly willing to play hardball when the time comes to renew carriage agreements. Customers of Charter Communications Spectrum TV service are getting free access to Paramount's ad-supported streaming services, with their cable packages under a new distribution deal between the two companies. That agreement followed a similar model adopted after a high-profile feud between Charter and Disney last year. Shares of Paramount were up roughly 4.4% in after-hours trading. Paramount, which owns the namesake movie studio and the streaming services, including Paramount Plus, said it lost $5.41 billion in the second quarter, largely due to the goodwill impairment charge it booked for its cable networks unit. Revenue fell 11% to $6.81 billion. The company said its streaming business, which beyond Paramount Plus also includes Pluto TV, reported its first ever quarterly profit. But Paramount lost 2.8 million subscribers in the quarter, which the company attributed to the exit from a hard bundle agreement in South Korea. The company reiterated its forecast that Paramount Plus would be profitable domestically in 2025. Disney, one of Paramount's rivals, also reported streaming profitability for the first time earlier this week, one quarter ahead of schedule. Revenue in Paramount's filmed entertainment business fell by 18%, the company said. Theatrical revenues suffered from the comparison with the year earlier quarter when Transformers Rise of the Beasts was released. Paramount is currently being run by the Office of the CEO made up of its three divisional heads: Chris McCarthy, George Cheeks, and Brian Robbins. The CEOs earlier this year said the company's goal was to reach $500 million in cost savings. On Thursday, they said the company would continue to aggressively execute that strategic plan. To realize these savings, Paramount is reducing its U.S.-based workforce by 15%. In July, David Ellis and Skydance Media agreed to a two-step deal under which it will buy National Amusements, the privately held movie theater company through which Sherry Redstone controls Paramount. In the second step of the deal, Skydance will merge with Paramount. The deal is subject to a go shop period where other potential buyers can make bids, which ends later this month. The company said it expects the deal to close in the first half of 2025. Okay, and then they just talk more about the Warner stuff, which I've already covered. So yeah, it's and a recurring theme in these stories is that it's really the switch to streaming has been disastrous for them. Hello, Mohammed Saeed. Hello, sir. Thank you for stopping by. Good to see you. Okay, what do I want to do next here? Let me. And there was there was something about Redbox, because like Redbox shut down. Let me see. I forgot about that. Okay, yeah, here it is. Let me bring that up because I forgot about that story. Here we go. And this is from what, IGN. Redbox officially shutting down, spelling the end of thousands of DVD rental kiosks across the U.S. The days of heading to the Red kiosk to rent a DVD are ending as Redbox announced that after 22 years, it's officially shutting down. As Variety reports, Redbox parent company, Chicken Soup for the Soul Entertainment, seriously? Changed its Chapter 11 bankruptcy case to Chapter 7 yesterday. As a result, Redbox will shut down all its DVD rental kiosks and streaming services. Redbox was launched in 2002. Redbox's DVD kiosk rentals were spotted at various locations, including fast food restaurants, grocery stores, and pharmacies. Its convenience and affordable pricing made it widely popular among consumers, and 5 years after its initial launch, it would surpass Blockbuster in terms of locations. Yeah, and I would think, I would imagine that for millennials, this shutting down is kind of like Blockbuster going out of business for us Gen Xers, I would think. It's like
This is probably such a big component of their upbringing. In addition to movies, Redbox also offered video game rentals. Unfortunately, the company would stop video game rentals altogether in 2019. Additionally, Redbox delved into video streaming, launching Redbox On Demand in 2017 and Redbox Free Live TV in 2020. Several months later, the company announced Redbox Plus, a yearly subscription offering subscribers incentives such as extended return times and 12 to 24 rentals. The announcement of Redbox shuttering comes as physical media becomes obsolete in favor of digital-only options to obtain media. Streaming services like Netflix and Disney Plus have become quite popular with consumers, providing them with a vast library of shows and movies to watch at their leisure for a monthly or annual price. Beyond Redbox's closure, some rental stores are also changing their strategy on physical media. Last April, a Target spokesman confirmed to IGN that it would limit the number of DVDs it sells in its retail stores. Last October, Best Buy revealed it was phasing out of physical media sales, noting it would discontinue physical DVDs. Man, these ads keep jumping around. Come on here. Discontinue physical DVD and Blu-ray disc sales in stores and online in early 2024. And I saw that, some people, they had a lot of content that, they had purchased on the streaming stuff, on the streaming end. They had purchased games, purchased shows and stuff like that. And then one day they just go and poof, all gone. And in some cases, these are people who had spent, thousands on this stuff, and it's just all taken away. That's part of why I've never been a big fan of these streaming services. I still generally stick with physical media and my DVD collection because I don't trust these companies. Okay, all right, that's enough of the business end thing. Where are we at? 42 minutes. All right. All right, let's talk about that Kang Dynasty leak. So some of you may have heard. Let me bring this up. And this is from smallscreen.co.uk. Avengers: The Kang Dynasty's original plot reportedly revealed. Interesting news for Marvel fans. The original plot for Avengers: Kang Dynasty has finally been revealed. According to a scoop from My Time to Shine Hello on X, we now have a glimpse into what would have been an anticipated MCU blockbuster. As someone who has eagerly followed the Marvel Cinematic Universe's twists and turns, I couldn't be more thrilled to dive into the details of this latest revelation. The Kang Dynasty was set to be a major entry in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, featuring Jonathan Majors as Kang the Conqueror, the time-traveling villain who was promising to be one of the Avengers' most formidable foes. That move was eventually canceled after all the controversy involving Jonathan Majors, but we now know what could have happened in Avengers: Kang Dynasty. Okay, yeah, so it's down here. With Avengers Endgame leaving a significant legacy to follow, fans have been buzzing with speculation about how the next big Avengers film will up the ante. The newly revealed plot details provide some intriguing insights into what Marvel Studios' plans were to achieve this. This has all since changed, but it's still very interesting to find out what they were planning. The scoop from My Time to Shine Hello suggests that Avengers: The Kang Dynasty was initially set to follow a complex narrative involving multiple timelines and epic battles. The story would have seen Kang the Conqueror using his mastery of time to create alternate realities, each with its own version of the Avengers. This time-bending chaos would force the heroes to confront different iterations of themselves, testing their resolve and unity. According to the leak, the film was to feature a series of high-stakes encounters between the Avengers and Kang's various incarnations, each more challenging than the last. The plot would also delve into the personal struggles of key characters, exploring how their experiences in different timelines have shaped them. This narrative device was designed to add emotional depth and complexity to the action-packed storyline, ensuring that Kang Dynasty stood out as a unique entry in the MCU. One of the most exciting, let me get rid of that. One of the most exciting aspects of the freaking ads. One of the most exciting aspects of the Kang Dynasty was going to be Jonathan Majors' return as Kang the Conqueror. Majors made a memorable debut as a variant of Kang, He Who Remains, in Loki, and his portrayal has been highly anticipated by fans. In the Kang Dynasty, Majors is expected to bring even more death and menace to the character, cementing Kang's status as a top-tier villain. The original plot details hint at a performance that will showcase Kang's cunning, intelligence, and ruthlessness. By manipulating time and reality, Kang poses a unique threat to the Avengers, one that will require them to think outside the box and push their abilities to the limit. Major's ability to convey both charm and menace made him a perfect fit for the role. The limited plot leak also suggests that the Kang Dynasty will push the Avengers to their limits, both physically and emotionally. By confronting alternate versions of themselves, the heroes will be forced to reevaluate their identities and what it means to be an Avenger. Okay. So, and one thing I've heard, and I'm surprised it's not in this article, maybe I need to find another article, but I read somewhere that there was talk that they were, I don't know if it was the final form, but at some point this movie, they were going to have it focus on the Spider-Man. They were going to bring back the various Spider-Men that were in Spider-Man No Way Home and have them work together. Or maybe that was just an idea that was floated. I don't know. But at the end, anyway, at the end of this, it would have Kang. Excuse me a moment. Excuse me. Okay. So at the end of it, Kang forms Battle World, and that would lead into, I guess, what is now going to be Avengers Doomsday. Or no, Secret Wars. It'll be Secret Wars. And Mohammed says, I'm glad Kang isn't having. Yeah, I, I don't know. I go back and forth. I didn't. Oh, you're glad the Kang movie got scrapped? I don't know. I go back and forth on Jonathan Majors as Kang. I mean, obviously, under the circumstances, they kind of, I guess, had to do it. I mean, they could have recast him. I don't know why they don't. I don't know why they recast some roles and others. They're like, no, we can't recast that. I don't know. But the thing is, in Secret Wars, if I remember correctly, it always well, the original Secret Wars, of course, it was the Beyonder, not Kang, who was responsible for all this. But then Doom later usurps him and takes over, usurps his power. And I'd like it to be more like the comics if it could. So I wouldn't mind having Kang there and then having Doom usurp him and sort of take his place. But I don't know. We'll just have to see how it works. All right, now, speaking of upcoming movies, D23, I think, was this past weekend. So let me go ahead and do a story on that because, of course, they introduce a lot of stuff. And Mohammed says, I hope that happens. Yeah, that's probably how it's going to play with Doom taking Kang out somehow. Okay. Disney unveils latest from Pixar, Marvel, Lucasfilm at Star-Packed D23 panel. Bob Iger got a rockstar-worthy welcome Friday night as roughly 12,000 screaming fans gave the Disney CEO a standing ovation as he kicked off a supersized panel at D23. It was a homecoming for Iger, who missed the last D23 in 2022 as he was in the midst of a temporary retirement. This year's biannual convention gave filmmakers and execs such as James Cameron, Kevin Feige, Pete Docter, and Jennifer Lee the chance to announce new projects and tease what's coming over the next year. This year's presentation took place at the Honda Center in Anaheim, California, meaning around twice as many people were in the room as in past years. Instead of panels, a pep squad pumped up, or ahead of panels, a pep squad pumped up the crowd while fans were handed light up bracelets and envelopes with magician David Blaine's logo on it, featuring a deck of cards. Okay, so read on for trailers and highlights and announcement from the panel. Okay, so I guess this is the stuff they announced at the show. So Mufasa, the Lion King. Filmmaker Barry Jenkins welcomed Lin-Manuel Miranda to his very first D23, with the songwriter debuting a new song for Mufasa, the Lion King. They then unveiled the trailer, which gave a look at the relationship between an orphan named Mufasa and the adopted brother who would later be named Scar. So this is a Lion King prequel, I guess. Tron Ares. After an appearance by cast members Jared Leto, Evan Peters, and Greta Lee, Disney showed off mind-bending footage from the threequel. After that, a red laser revealed the iconic Nine Inch Nails logo to screams from the crowd, and the news that the band will compose the score, following in the footsteps of Daft Punk, who handled duties on 2010's Tron Legacy. Yeah, they probably should have gotten Daft Punk to come back. Snow White. Snow White whistled while she worked at D23, where the first trailer was revealed. Unlike some recent movies, which have hidden their musical pedigree in trailers, this one embraced the fact that it's a musical. And by the way, I haven't watched these trailers, so I really can't comment on how they look. I have seen bits and pieces of the Snow White trailer in other videos where other people are talking about it, and I don't know. I mean, I don't know, but honestly, I don't really care. I mean, I was never going to see Snow White anyway. It's not important to me. Freakier Friday, a body swap comedy. Freaky Friday 2 got a title with stars Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Curtis shouting out the title to the crowd. David Blaine's Do Not Attempt. The magician has a new show coming to National Geographic in 2025, and he showed off a mind-blowing trick for the crowd of 12,000. He asked everyone to take out a deck of cards they were given at the start of the show, cut their deck twice, and put the new card on top. He then pulled two people from the audience. One pulled the Three of Hearts. It turned out everyone in the audience had pulled the same card, so 12,000 people were holding up the Three of Hearts. Okay. Did we check these decks to make sure that they weren't all decks of nothing but Three of Hearts? I mean, did we do that? Do we know for sure? Mohammed says, I forgot about D23 because of One Piece Day. Okay. He said, I think the Daredevil trailer one looks decent. Yeah, I probably need to look at that Daredevil trailer. Okay, Agatha all along. Oh, yeah. Catherine Hahn led the cast in a musical number with stars such as Aubrey Plaza joining in. Oh, God. Oh, God, the cringe meter must have been, they must have buried the needle. Before unveiling a new trailer for the Marvel Studios show, which bows in September. Daredevil Born Again. Marvel Studios boss Kevin Feige revealed that season 1 of the series debuts in March 2025, and season 2 is about to go to film. Among the stars on stage were Charlie Cox, Vincent D'Onofrio, Deborah Ann Wool, Eldon Hinson, and John Bernthal. Said Bernthal of returning, it's a real honor. I couldn't be up here with better people. And look, I've done a number of stories about Daredevil. And my understanding from what I've read is that, basically what they did is they made a show. And I guess it didn't test well or something. And then, kind of like with Captain America New World Order, they did this big rewrite and basically did a big change, and to make it more along the lines of the old Netflix show, because people wanted Foggy and Karen back. But what I understand is what I read, or the story I did on it, the article I did said that, because I think it's like an 18 episode series, which is a lot for streaming. but that like maybe only the first few issues were going to be like that. It was going to be like the old show for like the first, I don't know, 3, 4, maybe 5 episodes, and then a major character was going to die. And I don't know who that was, but I'm guessing it's probably Foggy, I would bet. Foggy or Karen, one or the other. And then there was going to be a time jump to like years later, and then from there it would just be the new show and wouldn't really be like the Netflix show. It'd basically be just a new Daredevil show. So I mean, it really sounds like another one of these streaming show bait and switch deals, where it's like, oh, here's the show with this thing you like, okay, and then you watch, and then it's like, oh, psych, it's actually this other thing. And Muhammad says Ironheart and Agatha is a bad idea come to life. Yeah, I mean Agatha all along. Who the hell wanted an Agatha show? It's like that Penguin show. Who wanted a Penguin show? Nobody. Okay, speaking of Ironheart, Black Panther, Wakanda. Of course, this article misspells it though. It says wank Conda forever. Black Panther wank Conda forever. Filmmaker Ryan Coogler took the stage to talk the Marvel show centering on Riri Williams, who first debuted in his 2022 movie. The character is a genius MIT student who builds her own Iron Man style suit. Thorne, Anthony Ramos, Lyric Ross, Alden Ehrenreich, and Reagan Alia joined Coogler on stage to show off footage. Gee, I wonder if Alden Ehrenreich will be the bad guy. He's like the one white guy in the cast. I wonder if he'll be the villain. The show has long been in the works and actually revealed footage at D23 in 2022. Okay, Fantastic Four and Captain America Brave New World. Fresh off of San Diego Comic-Con just a few weeks ago, Marvel brought out Brave New World star Anthony Mackie and showed off the same footage for both his movie and Fantastic Four. The footage was not new for those who were at Comic-Con, but Mackie did tell a story about seeing Harrison Ford as Red Hulk. You have to appreciate Harrison Ford going that far. And I don't know, some of you may have seen that quote from Harrison Ford uh, and in the press, where I guess they asked him about, how he felt or what it was like. How did he wind up playing Red Hulk or something like that? And what did the line is he said something like, it involved not caring and being an idiot for money. I mean, and I could have told you that. I mean, if he was annoyed with if Harrison Ford was annoyed with like sitting next to a guy in a dog suit in Star Wars back when he was 35, you really think he's going to enjoy playing a big red snarling monster when he's 80? Okay, Mohammed said, "What? I returned to the movie theater for Deadpool and Wolverine twice. Okay, I avoided bad movies since Endgame. I didn't like it enough to see it again. I mean, I enjoyed Deadpool and Wolverine okay, but I wasn't. I don't know. I was a little disappointed in it. I don't know. Maybe I'm just. I don't know. It's probably just because I'm so annoyed with Disney in general. And Harrison Ford. Yeah, it's funny how Harrison Ford, old people, they can be amusing sometimes with the way they just don't really give a crap and they'll just say what they want to say. And he's clearly at that stage now where he's like, because I mean, the guy's got, FU money. It's not like he needs to work. Okay, and I guess they had Ryan Reynolds put in an appearance. Okay, The Mandalorian and Grogu. We just started filming a few weeks ago, said director Jon Favreau of the first Star Wars movie to film since 2019's Rise of Skywalker. He went on to show off some footage, including snowtroopers and AT-AT walkers. Andor Season 2 will welcome some familiar faces from Rogue One. The movie introduced the world to Cassian Andor. The new footage revealed that Ben Mendelsohn is back as his Empire character Krennic. Huh, okay. While Alan Tudyk will return to voice the droid K2SO. The rebellion goes big, said creator Tony Gilroy in a video. Okay, so they're going to have this lead into Andor now. Okay, I was wondering how long it would take for them to get to that. I have not watched Andor, but generally what I've heard is that it's actually a pretty good show. Now, okay, what's Muhammad's? What do you say here? I'm glad have started read Bronze and Silver Age comics and One Piece anime and manga. Yeah, well, I'll tout Bronze Age comics all day long, pretty much, especially Bronze Age Marvel. Okay, and what does he say here? Muhammad says Mando movie if they can get back to the season 1 tone. But the thing with Andor is, the main criticism has been that it really doesn't feel like Star Wars. It's not like fun. It's not like light entertainment. It's more kind of grim and more dystopian and stuff like that. But what little I've seen of it, it actually reminds me a lot of THX 1138, which is, of course, the first movie that Lucas ever did, which was, again, it was like that. It was a film, a future dystopia, and very kind of grim, kind of foreboding and somber film. And I thought that Andor kind of had that feel to it. I thought that was actually a kind of a cool thing. Muhammad says Fantastic Four, Jack Kirby and Stan Lee run. Okay, very good. For what it's worth, I would, Muhammad, I'd really recommend John Byrne's run on Fantastic Four in the 80s. He came on to Fantastic Four, around 83, 82, 83, somewhere around there. And he had about a, 4 or 5 year run up till, from about 82 or 83 up to 86. And then he went over to DC to reboot Superman. But a big part of his run was getting back to kind of trying to recapture the feel of the early Fantastic Four, and really leaning into the classic villains that they fought during that they were fighting during the Silver Age run. Okay, Skeleton Crew. Fans got a teaser for the series which centers on young characters lost in a galaxy far, far away and stars Jude Law. Frozen 2. Disney Animation's Jennifer Lee revealed that Frozen 3 will bow in 2027. As previously mentioned, she confirmed a fourth film is also in the works. Frozen films have been big for Disney. 2013's Frozen, starring Kristen Bell and Idina Menzel, earned $1.28 billion, while Frozen 2 brought in $1.45 billion. Zootopia 2. Everything Everywhere All at Once Oscar winner Ke Huy Quan will join Zootopia 2 as a creepy new character, which starred Jennifer Goodwin described as slithering a highly venomous viper named Gary. Incredibles 3. Closing the Pixar portion of the presentation, Peter Docter left the crowd with a big tease. That's right, we're making Incredibles 3. Brad Bird is developing it right now. The Incredibles first subverted the superhero genre in 2004, while 2018's The Incredibles 2 earned more than $1.2 billion. Okay, now this is one thing that I'm actually kind of interested in, because I love the original Incredibles. And Mohammed says, John Byrne is awesome. Yes, I agree. Definitely one of my absolute favorite creators. But I love the first Incredibles. Incredibles 2, I mean, I don't hate it, but I don't love it the way I love the first one. It's probably too much to hope that Incredibles 3 will actually be good, but we'll see. Okay, Hoppers. What is this? John Hamm and Bobby Moynihan will lead the body swap movie about a beaver and a human who exchange bodies. Yes, you read that right. Huh, okay. Toy Story 5. Director Andrews, is there anything here except Hoppers that isn't a sequel? I don't think so. Director Andrew Stanton shared new details about Toy Story 5, revealing the toys will face off against technology like iPads and iPhones. It's toy meets tech, said Stanton, adding that there are 50 malfunctioning commemorative Buzz Lightyear figures who will cause serious problems. Um, I haven't seen any of them. I didn't see Toy Story 4. I didn't hear good things about it. And honestly, I probably won't bother seeing Toy Story 5 yet. I think they should have just stopped at 3. Okay, an Inside Out TV spinoff. Pixar's Doctor took a victory lap after the summer success of Inside Out 2, thanking fans for making it the #1 animated movie of all time. He also shared some news. Inside Out will be getting a Disney Plus TV series called Dream Productions, which will bow next year. Avatar, Fire, and Ash. Sounds like a spinoff of Game of Thrones. Avatar mastermind James Cameron revealed the third Avatar film is called Avatar, Fire, and Ash. There are new cultures and settings and creatures and new biomes. You will see a lot more of Pandora, the planet that you've never seen before, said Cameron of the project, which opens in December 2025. The film is not what you'd expect, but it's definitely what you want. And I got to admit, that's a good tagline. It's not what you expect, but it's definitely what you want. And Cameron's always been a pretty good salesman. Monster Jam. Little was revealed about this new project, but Dwayne Johnson introduced a film called Monster Jam that involves monster trucks. Oh, okay. I was thinking this was some kind of sequel to Space Jam. Yeah, but that's Warner Brothers. Yeah. Okay. We can create something that is immersive and cool and fun, said Johnson, calling it a live action experience told from the point of view of these incredible monster trucks and their eccentric owners. So basically, cars with monster trucks, I guess. And Muhammad said James Cameron without testosterone is not good. Um, yeah. I mean, he, I like his stuff, but I've just found him to be more than a bit annoying. At this point, I just try to separate the creations from the creator. That sort of thing. Okay, Moana 2. Moana 2 stars. Okay. I'm probably going to butcher this name. Oliai Cravalho, and Johnson, and they got the crowd moving by performing a song from her upcoming sequel. Maui is singing again, singing in keys that don't exist, and my hair looks fantastic in Moana 2, quipped Johnson, who gave a shout out to his 6 and 8-year-old daughters in the crowd. The film is a sequel to the landmark 2016 original, which has consistently been among the most streamed movies in the world for several years. It was initially slated as a Disney Plus TV series before getting upgraded to theatrical. Oh, okay. So it's going to be another one of these things where they take a streaming show and turn it into a movie. Okay. Audiences got to look at a new trailer, which has not yet been released online. Then Johnson handed things off to Disney's Bergman, introducing him as my twin. Okay. All right. So that's most of the D23 stuff, but there's actually, they didn't touch on the animated stuff that's coming. And there's another article on that. What am I at on time here? Oh, I'm already over an hour. Okay. Every week I say I'm going to go an hour, and then I go like an hour and 20 minutes. But let me just hit on this, I guess, right quick. Let me bring this up. Okay. Marvel, and this is from comicbookmovie.com. Marvel Animation showcases an impressive slate at D23 as Coleman Domingo joins MCU as Norman Osborn. All right, give me a moment here. Okay, sorry, I had to take a drink of water. All right. Marvel Studios' Marvel Animation panel just wrapped up at D23, and we're disappointed to report that none of the footage shown to fans at the event has been shared online. It's not all bad news, though, as we do have some big updates for you. And X-Men 97 Season 2 sizzle reel kicked things off and confirmed the team will wear the black and yellow uniforms from Grant Morrison's new X-Men run. Interesting. And that's kind of ironic because, that run by Grant Morrison, where they changed to the black and yellow kind of black leather uniforms, was clearly done due to the influence of the X-Men movies, where they wore those black leather outfits instead of their traditional uniforms, which of course it's been revealed since that the reason they went with that look in the X-Men movies was because of the Matrix, because of the success of the Matrix films. And they wanted to copy that look. And now, ironically, in movies, we're finally getting Wolverine in his proper costume. And now in the cartoons, they're about to go back to the black leather look. Go figure. The preview then revealed plans for characters like Apocalypse, Bishop, Danger, Mariko, Polaris, and Warlock to appear when the critically acclaimed revival returns to Disney Plus in the not too distant future. It also confirmed that What If Season 3 will be the show's last. Oscar Isaac is set to reprise his role as Moon Knight, with Ironheart and White Vision now set to appear. One episode will see a team led by Captain America control Gundam-style mechs to battle Gamma monsters. And yes, Sam Wilson says Avengers Assemble. Eyes of Wakanda is a 4-part series delving into Wakanda's history. That sounds like a news program, like on PBS or something. Eyes on Wakanda. And Iron Fist will appear, and veteran storyboard artist Todd Harris developed the series alongside Black Panther director Ryan Coogler. Next up was your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. As you can see below, a host of heroes, villains, and supporting characters have been unveiled. Among them will be Norman Osborn, who in this world serves as Peter Parker's mentor in place of Iron Man. However, his methods are a little less heroic. The big news is that Fear the Walking Dead star Coleman Domingo is lending his voice as Norman. So much for those Kang the Conqueror rumors. Footage shown to fans included Spidey's first meeting with Doctor Strange, numerous costumes, and a Venom-like villain we believe is based on Blackheart, not the symbiote. However, the big twist here is that a spider which drops from the creature's portal bites Peter and grants him his amazing abilities. That means his powers are rooted in magic, not science. Not even like totally fake made-up science. Fans got to sink their teeth into a Marvel Zombies preview. Now confirmed as a What If sequel, it will be 4 episodes long and is rated TVMA. In the trailer, Shang-Chi and Katie, oh God, are attacked by the undead, with the former bitten on his arm. However, when Wu appears and uses the 10 rings to save his son before we jump 5 years into a post-apocalyptic future. Oh, well, we get finally the return of Marvel's Katie, like we've all been waiting for. Good God. And, I remember doing, I think it was earlier this year, doing a stream where I talked about an article where it said that Disney was going to do more animation. They were going to lean into animation more. Probably in part because of the success of X-Men 97, because I'm guessing because just 2D animation or even CGI animation is just so comparatively cheap to do compared to live action. And with their brand, it's probably just going to be money in the bank for them. Okay, so I'm about at 1:15, so I'm about to wrap it up. But first, what Muhammad says, classic comics, I recommend One Piece if you like pirates and adventures and good stories. So, I mean, I've seen bits and pieces of One Piece, and it looks like a fun show. And I keep considering it, but there's so many things that I want to watch or want to see that aren't anime, that are already on my list. And also to read. That's another thing, is there's a lot of books I still want to read that I'll probably get to that eventually and get into anime more. I'm familiar with anime from years past. Like, I grew up watching Speed Racer and Star Blazers and Battle of the Planets and what else? And Robotech, And then in the 90s, like I saw Akira and some other stuff. And I've seen some of the Studio Ghibli stuff. So, I mean, I have some experience with anime and I generally like it. But it's just finding the time to get around to it. It'll probably take a while. But thank you for the recommendation. And Muhammad says Wolverine in his proper costume was highlight of the movie. Yeah, I think that's what brought in a lot of people. Personally, I really would have preferred if they had kept him in that brown and tan suit that you see briefly. When Wolverine is like dimension hopping and you just get that quick look at him, because I prefer that costume to the yellow and blue myself. Okay, so I just hit 1 hour 16 minutes, so I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. Thanks to those who tuned in to watch the stream and who will tune in on a rewatch. Again, please do like the stream and sub to the channel and hit the bell for notifications. What else? Okay, this Tuesday I should be doing another Trek Talk live stream. I'll be looking at the Star Trek Original Series episode, The Alternative Factor. And then after that, hopefully I'll finally get around to posting a new video to my channel. I'm kind of behind on that. I've been very busy the last couple of weeks. But hopefully I'll be posting something new by the end of this coming week. And again, everyone, have a good night. And thanks for tuning in.